Henry Kissinger once said that those who need no introductions usually crave them the most. But I am going to follow the principle that the people here are too famous and too well known for me to need to do any introductions. We are simply going to begin because we have a limited amount of time with these very distinguished people. And we are going to launch right into our conversation. They have very graciously agreed to simply answer questions. First, we will have a conversation amongst ourselves, and then they are going to be asked questions by entrepreneurs from the Tony Elumelu Foundation. We are going to try to match one entrepreneur from each country to ask a question of his or her president, and we are trying to make sure that we have, in that category at least, some gender balance. So there will be an equal number of questions asked by women as by men. I look forward to the day when the panel also is equal numbers of female presidents and male presidents. Let me begin with Paul Kagame. So you must get tired of answering this question, President Kagame, because the question is always a variation of the same one, which is, how the hell did you do it? Rwanda is now, in terms of the World Bank's Ease of Doing Business Index, 29 out of 190. That is 10 points higher than Japan. So I think that the real question people would have is, what were the most difficult challenges in creating the kind of environment that allows the private sector to flourish? What are the obstacles, and how did you overcome them?
Thank you, Farid. I will try to say it in a few words. First, we tried to do it because there were no alternatives for us. We had to do it because looking back in time for our country, we sank so low that there was no lower point to go. The only way to go was up, and up we tried to go. So the first thing we had to deal with was the mindset of our people, because there is a history where people were used to sitting back and things being offered to them for free from abroad or for whatever, things done for everyone. So we had to find ways of making sure that Rwandans understand that they have to be there for themselves. And that goes for other Africans, I'm sure. We have to do our part. Even if we get assistance, we use it to make sure that we strengthen ourselves, our base, and then build on that. So, and at the same time, we had to look for ways of doing things differently from what people were used to. And in actual fact, it was not therefore just politics. We got used to politics of, saying the right things and doing very little about that. So we, therefore, in the change of mindset, our people are made to say, one, development is something we must do. Prosperity is something we must achieve. So how do we get there? We have to create that vision of how we move forward. It starts with the people, ourselves. And we said, Rwandans, it starts with us. How much have we done? How much have we invested in ourselves for skills, for knowledge? And how much time do we take to do things that we know we must do and not wait for anybody else to come and do it. Then doing business that Farid, you mentioned, was identified immediately as if you have knowledge, if you have invested in skills, if you are investing in infrastructure, what do you do with that? What follows is really business. It's doing business. It's entrepreneurship. It's people's creativity and innovation that has to be put into play. At the same time, that would not happen unless and until you invest in a conducive, good governance environment that will allow what needs to happen to take place. So that's how we tried to do it. And we were under pressure because of where we are coming from. And we had to convince ourselves that one, we can do it, two, that there is no other alternative, and everybody rallied and we started doing our bit, and that's how we have made good progress.
Let me ask you, I once asked Lee Kuan Yew, the founder of Singapore, what he thought his most important legacy was going to be. And he said, my greatest accomplishments are that I was able to bring a nation together. Singapore, you remember, is a small island made up of Malays and Chinese and Indians. So first was to make a nation, then was to create an economic model, but the final one, he said, was to create political institutions that would outlast him. And so my question to you is, will you be able to achieve that third legacy of Lee Kuan Yew?
There is no question about it, because if you've done everything else that you are supposed to do, and the remaining problem is you, it's much easier to deal with that. So if we do everything else right and we've set the stage, I don't see how one person, me, becomes the problem. In any case, even if you became the problem or wanted to become the problem, you are soon reminded that everyone has only such a time to live, and one way or the other. So I don't think that's going to be, and therefore the legacy for me is not me. The legacy is that you leave behind indeed. So if we have managed, say, to change a mindsets of our people, to know what they stand for, what they need to do, what they have in themselves, and we have united our country. In fact, it is a similar problem because our country was torn apart by divisive politics. We have now brought the country back together and also set the country on the path to development, which we are achieving. So if this is going, and it's going because of the people, because of the institutions, because of the policies we have tried to put in place, we are educating our people, we are investing in their health, and these people, the Rwandans, working together with the knowledge, with the skills, with aspirations they have for themselves, I think that is the main legacy, and for me, it will be just a personal story, and it will be passing like other things pass.
Let me ask President Macky Sall of Senegal, because Senegal has itself been doing quite well. It's been growing 6%. Investors are excited about it. What did it take for you to make the reforms, and how difficult is it again? What are the obstacles? Because it seems as though if it was so easy, everyone would have done it. And so, when you start on this road, what do you think are the challenges?
Thank you very much, Farid. So I will ask everybody to switch in French to let me express, first of all, my deep salutation to Président Buhari. Et je voudrais demander au vice-président de transmettre d'abord mes amitiés au président de la République fédérale du Nigeria, président Buhari, mais aussi saluer les collègues chefs d'État ici présents, mon frère et ami le président Paul Kagame, président du Rwanda, mon frère Félix Tshisekedi, président de la République démocratique du Congo, et notre frère le Premier ministre de l'Ouganda, ainsi que bien sûr le vice-président du Nigeria. C'est avec beaucoup de plaisir que j'ai répondu à l'invitation de la Fondation Tony Elimelo. C'est inhabituel que des chefs d'État africains se retrouvent dans un panel comme celui-ci à l'initiative du secteur privé. Cela montre que l'Afrique est en mouvement, et c'est un mouvement irréversible, un mouvement pour l'avenir de l'Afrique. Parce que nous avons compris que le développement du continent ne sera pas seulement l'œuvre des pouvoirs publics, mais il sera l'œuvre du public et du privé. Et je voudrais saluer Tony pour cette initiative, pour cette générosité en direction de la jeunesse africaine. Notre continent, nous le savons, est un continent qui a une population très jeune. En moyenne, si je prends le cas du Sénégal, 70% de la population a moins de 30 ans. Moins de 30 ans. C'est dire que le défi de l'emploi des jeunes, mais l'emploi à travers l'entrepreneurship, reste un défi que nous devons relever ensemble. Et c'est pourquoi nous nous sommes déplacés, pour appuyer cette action de la Fondation. Nous avons, en ce qui nous concerne au Sénégal, pour répondre à la question de Farida, eu conscience que pour développer le pays, il nous fallait avoir de l'ambition dans notre volonté de transformation de l'économie du pays. Cette transformation passe par l'augmentation de nos capacités de production. Nous l'avons dit, et c'est pourquoi j'ai toujours salué l'ambition du président Adesina de la Banque africaine de développement à travers les 5 projets majeurs. Nourrir l'Afrique. Nous devons avoir les capacités de nourrir notre continent. Donc, développer aussi l'entrepreneurship agricole, mais surtout en faveur des jeunes. Puisque si l'agriculture est modernisée, nous avons des centaines de millions de jeunes qui pourraient entreprendre dans le secteur de l'agriculture, prospérer et développer des affaires. Cela est également valable dans le secteur des services. Tout est service en définitive. Et si nous avons cette compréhension en tant que pouvoir public, mais l'État va se concentrer dans les domaines régaliens, la sécurité, la défense, et laisser le secteur privé, national, africain, international. Et il est souhaitable que le secteur privé africain prenne toute sa place dans le développement de l'Afrique. Voilà pourquoi je pense que l'un des freins de l'investissement privé reste encore la mauvaise perception que les hommes d'affaires et le secteur privé a de l'Afrique. Surtout là, il s'agit du secteur privé international. La perception du risque est exagérée. L'Afrique n'est pas plus risquée que l'Europe du Sud ou d'autres endroits du monde. Les Africains payent leurs dettes à date issue. il n'y a pas plus de risques dans nos capitales qu'ailleurs. Donc cette perception exagérée du risque qui fait que nos investissements sont financés de manière beaucoup plus chère ralentit le développement de l'investissement privé en Afrique et donc ralentit l'emploi en Afrique. Il y a une part qui incombe au pouvoir public, c'est de faire en sorte, comme l'a dit le président Kagame, que en ce qui nous concerne, nous fassions un effort dans la gestion publique, que nous assainissions l'environnement des affaires, en luttant farouchement contre la corruption, en mettant en œuvre des réformes dans le climat, dans l'environnement des affaires, afin qu'investir ne soit pas, n'est-ce pas, assez risqué pour celui qui vient mettre ses ressources dans un pays. Cela incombe au pouvoir public. Nous y travaillons, en tout cas au Sénégal et dans la plupart des pays africains. Aujourd'hui, nous avons mis en place des tribunaux du commerce. Nous avons fait en sorte également de faire de la dématérialisation, des procédures pour ce qui concerne la création d'emplois, le paiement des taxes en ligne et beaucoup d'autres réformes de seconde génération vont être mises en œuvre dans ce dernier semestre de l'année 2019 pour que notre score dans le doing business, qui est déjà appréciable, le soit davantage, que davantage nous luttions contre les lenteurs indues qui en fait sont les sources de la corruption, mais que investir au Sénégal ou investir en Afrique soit quelque chose que tout le monde pourrait faire. Le dernier point que je voudrais évoquer, ce sont les ressources humaines. L'Afrique, nous le savons, a une population très jeune et c'est un atout si nous formons cette population. Mais il faut lui donner les moyens de la formation, les moyens de l'entrepreneurship. C'est pourquoi ce forum vient à point nommé et nous-mêmes, nous avons décidé d'accompagner les efforts de la Fondation au Sénégal avec une délégation à l'entrepreneuriat rapide que j'ai mise en place en faveur des jeunes et des femmes. Et cette délégation apportera, chaque fois que la Fondation sélectionnera un jeune Sénégalais et lui remettra $5 000, nous mettrons également $5 000 pour accompagner l'action de ces jeunes. Alors, pour terminer donc, l'avenir de l'Afrique et la richesse de l'Afrique, c'est d'abord ses ressources humaines et nous devons tout faire pour former cette jeunesse, mais surtout la former dans l'entrepreneuriat. Et c'est là où nous pourrons régler la question de l'emploi et la question du développement du continent. Je vous remercie.
Let me turn to the president of the DRC. President Sall said that we should be ambitious and that the perceived risk of doing business in Africa is high and is a misperception, and that we need to counter this misperception. There still is the perception, and I would argue the reality, of corruption in Africa, in African governments. And I want to be honest about it, which is that when people talk about Africa in the West, President Sall is right, there is no longer a sense of political risk, meaning instability, meaning wars and civil wars and things like that. There is a sense of risk about political corruption. How should we think about the issue of corruption in Africa in governments?
Bien.
No,
Merci.
yes. Pour vous. Oui.
Oui, j'ai compris.
Oui.
J'ai un petit problème avec le casque.
Je connais.
Je ne reçois pas très bien les... Mais ça va, j'ai compris votre question. D'abord, je voudrais remercier M. Tony Eloumelou, l'organisateur et le président de la Fondation, Tony Eloumelou. Je voudrais remercier tous les participants à ce forum, saluer mes homologues ici présents et saluer le président du pays hôte, qui n'est malheureusement pas parmi nous, mais à qui j'envoie toutes mes salutations fraternelles. Je loue vraiment cette initiative et d'ores et déjà à mes homologues et aux organisateurs, à Tony particulièrement, je voudrais aussi lui lancer l'invitation pour une initiative similaire qui, depuis quelques années maintenant, a lieu dans mon pays. Il s'agit du forum qu'on appelle Makutanu. C'est dans notre langue nationale, mais en français, ça veut dire rencontre. Je crois qu'en Afrique, nous devrions multiplier ce genre d'initiatives parce que non seulement elles nous permettent de nous rapprocher, mais également et surtout elles nous permettent de mieux nous connaître et donc de davantage travailler entre nous. Le Nigeria a 2 fils dont il devrait être fier. Je parle ici de Tony Elumelu, mais aussi d'Akin Nwami Adesina, le président de la BAD, avec qui j'ai eu une réunion ce matin. Et je dois dire vraiment que je suis très fier de ces deux-là. Ils vont vraiment contribuer en grande partie à l'essor de l'Afrique et je remercie Dieu de les avoir mis sur notre chemin. Alors, pour en venir finalement à la question, je dirais qu'effectivement, l'un des fléaux en Afrique, c'est la corruption. La corruption a contribué énormément au fait que l'Afrique n'a pas avancé. La corruption est un mal, certes, que l'Afrique n'a pas inventé, mais qui ruine malheureusement ses efforts. Dès mon arrivée, mon avènement au pouvoir, et même bien avant, d'ailleurs, quand j'étais dans le combat pour la conquête de ce pouvoir, j'avais fait de la corruption, la lutte contre la corruption, j'entends, un de mes objectifs. Parce que c'est une gangrène qui empêche la mobilisation des recettes et donc cette création de richesses que l'on pourrait ensuite redistribuer de manière équitable pour booster l'économie et la croissance. La corruption doit être combattue dans toutes ses formes parce qu'on parle de la petite et de la grande corruption, la grande étant au niveau évidemment des institutions, la petite au niveau des individus, et tout cela contribue justement au manque à gagner de l'État. Lorsqu'on rajoute cela à ce que vous avez évoqué, c'est-à-dire les guerres et autres conflits en tout genre, cela évidemment mine l'Afrique. C'est pourquoi ma priorité, lorsque je suis arrivé, c'était d'abord de me battre pour que la paix et la sécurité soient une réalité dans mon pays, parce que malheureusement, nous sommes en proie à des conflits dus par l'existence de groupes armés, locaux comme étrangers, qui, à partir de certains territoires de notre pays, sèment l'horreur, la terreur et la désolation. Donc, nous allons combattre cela, nous sommes en train de le combattre, en plus du fait que nous allons renforcer le rôle de l'administration en l'étendant sur l'ensemble du territoire, et donc cela va permettre à l'État d'établir son autorité et à partir de ce moment-là, de pouvoir lutter contre toutes ces antivaleurs qui sont la corruption, l'impunité et bien d'autres choses qui minent notre économie. Donc, j'en suis tout à fait conscient. C'est vraiment un mal qui ronge nos pays en Afrique et nous devrions nous liguer, nous mettre tous ensemble, pouvoir public comme privé, pour éradiquer complètement ce mal qui nous empêche de nous développer. Voilà, merci beaucoup.
Let me ask the Prime Minister of Uganda, Mr. of Uganda. Uganda has actually had very good entrepreneurship growth. When you look at the measures compared with other African countries, Uganda does quite well. But everywhere in Africa, there is this challenge of female entrepreneurship. What are the ways in which you think it is best to try to help women become entrepreneurs? What are the obstacles and what are some of the solutions?
Chair, before I respond to your question, let me salute the Excellencies and Tony Lumen for this initiative, which has been able to bring together young people and mentor them, help them, support them in entrepreneurship. This is an innovative program which deserves our collective support. The second point in that direction is that because of the colonial legacy, we have tended to look at our colonial masters in terms of business, in terms of education, in terms of languages, and less on Africa. Therefore, this program, I salute it because it is going to touch on mindset change of our young people to look at Africa as their home, as their continent, and therefore this program is promoting Pan-Africanism. It will help consolidate the unity of Africa and take advantage of the free trade area that has been established by our leaders on the continent. Now, back to the question of women entrepreneurs. It is true that women in general, in Uganda and other countries in Africa, are at a disadvantage because of the cultural issues, because of ownership of property and land. The traditional banks will insist on you providing a land title or some other property which a woman normally does not have. Therefore, there is obvious need for an affirmative program to ensure that women have their rightful share in entrepreneurship and in business in general. The experience with Uganda is that although women are at a big disadvantage, when it comes to business, they have excelled and clearly surpassed men in various areas. In recognition of this, government of Uganda has established a women entrepreneurship scheme, and that scheme has further augmented the good work that women are doing. But in a nutshell, as we look at the way forward, we need to have more support for the women entrepreneurs. We need to give more support and mentorship to them so that they can compete without cultural and property ownership problems which are now working as impediments. Perhaps, let me also make the last point about the high risks that the young people are supposed to be having when it comes to business and getting loans. I think one of the problems is that we may be transferring more draws of loans that are for the well-to-do, imposing them on the young people, and young people find that they cannot cope. So the problem may be more with us other than being with young people. Therefore, let us be innovative, look at the young people, interact with them, and see what works for them, and support that. And I believe that the Rumel Foundation is a good example of innovatively working out a program which suits the youth and has now demonstrated success, where almost 5,000 young Africans have already benefited from the program. And the program has been so successful that it has attracted partners like our friends from Europe, African Development Bank, and many other institutions. And indeed, it has also mobilized us in government in Africa to support that program. So, in conclusion, women program, entrepreneurship is an important one. They have demonstrated capability, they have demonstrated success. All we need is to give them additional support. They will help Africa get out of poverty, which is now so rampant.
Thank you so much, Excellencies. We are now going to move to the second round of questioning, which will be done not by me, and not, alas, by those of you in the audience, so put your hands down. It will be done by entrepreneurs. My request would be that we be careful about this, just to respect the time of everybody. So if the questions can be brief, and if the answers can also be brief, we will get through one question for every leader of a country. I thought we would start with Nigeria. If we can get a question to Vice President Osinbajo. I think we have a entrepreneur lined up. Am I right? All right, I think I see someone with the mic. Yes, sir.
Your Excellencies, the Vice Presidents of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, the Tony Elumelu Foundation, all other protocols duly observed. My name is Chibuzo Okechukwu. I'm a Nigerian entrepreneur in the health sector with the 2019 Tony Elumelu Foundation. And I'm the founder and CEO of iDonate. It is a mobile application that leverages to bridge the gap between blood donors and patients in emergencies in hospitals using technology. Sir, my colleagues and I believe that we've developed and we have amazing ideas and businesses that will change our lives, Africa, and the entire world. I personally believe that using my idea, we can exactly and definitely change the face of healthcare services in the entire world, just with the right partnership. In order for small businesses like mine to thrive, to create jobs, create wealth, and reduce unemployment, sir, I believe infrastructure is key. Your Excellency, sir, what are you doing about power, transportation, and technology, as these are massive enablers of small businesses? Thank you.
Yep. Vice President.
Thank you very much. And again, congratulations on the great work you're doing with getting blood to patients as quickly as possible. Now, with respect to infrastructure, I'm sure that you realize that this constitutes for us the very biggest pillar of our economic policy. Beginning with railways, we have, as you know, started the Lagos-Kano Railway, because we very strongly believe that you must connect the country and you must connect all of the economic points of the country. So the Lagos-Kano Railway, we've completed the first phase of it all the way to Ibadan, and we're going all the way to Kano. We're also going to do the Lagos-Port Harcourt Railway. And we, as you know, we've also done the Alaja, the Warri-Alaja Railway. Now, all of these, of course, cost money, which is where we really require a good amount of private capital, good amount of private investments. But nobody really wants to invest, say, for example, in railways. So we've had to borrow, because people expect you to put your tracks and put your your rolling stock out there before they can agree to a concession or whatever. So we're doing all of that with railways. Of course, we're also doing a fair number of roads. And the strategy for roads, for the major roads, and I don't want to go into all of the detail of that, but the strategy for that is also using, in many cases, private sector. So, for example, if you look at the roads around the ports in Lagos, that's a private sector collaboration with flour mills and with the Dangote Foundation. So they get a tax credit for doing those roads. And we're using the same method in several other places where there's commercial viability for those roads. Because really, I mean, the total amount of money that federal government has, we're investing today, in the last 2 cycles, we've invested about 2.7 trillion in capital alone. That's the highest ever in the history of the country. But it just barely scratches the surface, because there are just huge, huge investments to be made in infrastructure. So let's take power. Of course, you know that power was privatized in 2005, so that generation and distribution were essentially privatized, and the government held on to transmission. But we found, by and large, that several of the discos to whom the assets of NEPA, our power company, were given or were concessioned to, many of those companies simply did not have the required resources. First, to ensure that they're able to give more distribution assets. So we needed to have more transformers, metering, and all of that. And they simply just didn't have the capacity to do so. And the government has supported and continually supported them. But today, we're rethinking all of that. And we're looking more at willing buyer, willing seller arrangements. Of course, you heard recently of the declaration that was made by the former Minister of Power, which really is our strategy going forward. And that is that we're going to encourage more private power companies who are able to render end-to-end service. We started that already in a few places. For example, in the Ariaria market in Aba, and also the Sabongari market in Kano, where there's a private power company providing power on a willing buyer, willing seller to the commercial actors in those markets. And it's working very well. One of the problems people always talk about is, especially private power companies, they say, hey, look, it's costing us too much to produce power. In other words, what we're getting in terms of tariffs is far too low, right? So people are asking for cost-effective tariffs. That's the power producers. But the willing buyer, willing seller arrangement allows that. So it's by negotiation. And the truth is that many of those who consume this power are really happy to pay more, so long as they're able to have regular power. So we think that this willing power, willing seller arrangement will bring in more investments into the power sector. And recently, about a few days ago, I'm sure you heard about the announcement we made about the collaboration with Siemens. So Siemens is taking over the renewal of our transmission assets and some distribution assets as well. And they'll also take over maintenance of that. So we expect that things will improve considerably. With technology, all that we think we need to do, aside from providing investments, aside from providing some investments and some capital, aside from that, what we really need to do is to take care of the regulatory space. For a lot of fintech companies, for example, a lot of mobile payment companies, a lot of them ran into trouble with the central bank because they were carrying out some types of banking activities. And so, we had to look at regulation. So we have the Entertainment and Technology Advisory Group, where very many young entrepreneurs and many commercial operators in the tech space come together with me. I chair that advisory council, and we'll look at the regulatory space along with the CBN and along with, with some of the relevant ministries to look at that regulatory space and ensure that we're able to keep it open and we're able to keep it competitive so that technology companies can have more room to operate and startups can have more room to operate. So those are some, of what we're trying to do. Thank you.
All right, we are now going to go to a lady from Rwanda to ask ask a question to President Kagame. I can't see whether that person has gotten the mic yet. Yes. And if I can just remind everybody here, we have to be respectful of everyone's time. So brief question, brief answer.
It's such an honor to be here. I thank Tony Elumi Foundation to have given the trust to young African entrepreneurs in raising African economy. Rwanda is a role model in terms of gender inclusion, where women are given the opportunity to be owners in terms of economic development. Me standing here is a living example. My name is Ineza. I'm an ecofeminist, and I personally thank my president to be carrying a water refillable bottle. It's such inspiring. I'm a founder of a company called Varvar, which is trying to transform household waste into organic fertilizers. My question is, what are the footprints that the government of Rwanda can share to other nations in order that we can have a common gender inclusion success story for all African countries? Thank you.
Well, I think you've more or less shared what is happening by talking about your background. But quickly, let me first once again also thank the foundation of Tony Elumelu and those who make it what it is, because it speaks to the problem and also to the solutions we are trying to find for the many problems we have on our continent. We wanted to thank you, but also join you, and that's why we have come here to encourage you and maybe through that encourage other African leaders, business leaders and others to try and do things the same way or together, more importantly, and take our continent forward. On the specific question, again, from the common sense perspective, we were saying in our country, 52% of our population is women. So how can we leave 52% of our population out of anything and expect to be doing anything of meaning? And that's how we made the approach to include women and prioritize integrating them in the overall activities of our economy, and not only that, also enable them to be leaders in their own right, like men and boys. So we have specifically targeted areas that have disadvantaged them and are made available resources to try and help women. One, we tried to uplift them in the area of education, in the area of their own health, which in the end, anyway, their health translates into health for everybody, because there is nobody who doesn't have a mother. So once women's health are taken care of, then you are taking care of the most basic thing and the foundation of everything about us. and also tried to train women and provided access to financing. We did it generally for the entrepreneurs, especially the young entrepreneurs. In fact, we created a fund which is called the Business Development Fund, and availed it to each district, and targeting young entrepreneurs and specifically looking out for women who need to be uplifted in this area as well. So that is what we have been trying to do. We just don't focus on women, which we do because of the position they are in, but we do it within the framework of trying to uplift all entrepreneurs so that we don't resolve one imbalance and create another. So that's what we have been trying to do.
What is the percentage, President Kagame, of the Rwandan parliament that is female?
Now, women are 62% in the parliament. Women, men have been complaining that, but we point to other areas where they are also dominating so that we create that balance I was talking about. But in a government, in cabinet ministers, we have 50-50. In the judiciary, we have about 40%. Local administration, a bit lower, 35%, but always work in progress. And we are making sure that women, in fact, this is enshrined in our Constitution, by the way. The Constitution provides that we must make sure that there is a certain threshold of women participation we can't go below, and we make sure that we fulfill the constitutional obligations, but also not just numbers, but by really making the investments necessary to raise those numbers.
My feeling is if the men complain, it's not such a big problem. Women have been complaining for thousands of years, and nobody listened to them. So, for the president of Senegal, for Macky Sall, I think we have an entrepreneur. Again, if the mic is with that person, he can stand up, I think. Oh, it's a lady, sorry, my mistake.
Okay. Your Excellencies, Votre Excellence, Monsieur le Président de la République du Sénégal, Monsieur Macky Sall, c'est un honneur pour moi de pouvoir me présenter à vous aujourd'hui et vous parler directement. Mon nom est Awatiam et je mène le projet Lifantou qui a pour ambition de nourrir et d'apporter un repas par jour à chaque enfant. Nous avons mis en place une marketplace de produits locaux qui s'appelle lifantou.com et qui est basée sur un système d'information géographique afin d'optimiser la production et la distribution alimentaire. Notre plateforme permet de mettre en relation les producteurs locaux et les cantines scolaires afin de réduire la malnutrition infantile et de réduire la déscolarisation. Aujourd'hui, Monsieur le Président, notre plateforme permet à chaque acteur de pouvoir gérer son stock, de pouvoir gérer ses commandes, mais pour autant, toutes les transactions financières sont faites en dehors de la plateforme. Et pourtant, une étude de McKinsey nous dit qu'en 2025, le e-commerce devrait rapporter à l'Afrique plus de 75 milliards de dollars et devrait apporter au niveau du GDP plus de 300 milliards de dollars, ce qui est très important pour nous. Et pourtant, les producteurs avec lesquels nous travaillons ont très peu accès aux services bancaires. Donc une alternative aujourd'hui serait par exemple les services de finances mobiles telles que Orange Money que vous connaissez au Sénégal, qui permettraient d'avoir un meilleur accès aux biens et services. Le producteur pourra acheter son engrais, pour avoir des transactions pour vendre, recevoir des produits et bien sûr faire des achats sur une plateforme comme Lifonto. Alors ma question, Monsieur le Président, c'est de savoir qu'est-ce que vous pourriez faire aujourd'hui pour améliorer l'accès aux finances technologiques, aux fintech comme nous disons, partout au Sénégal pour tous les entrepreneurs, afin de pouvoir promouvoir l'accès à la finance dans le digital et promouvoir l'économie africaine. Je vous remercie.
Bravo, merci beaucoup. C'est Bintou Thiam, je crois. Voilà, je voudrais vous féliciter, ainsi que tous les jeunes entrepreneurs et surtout les jeunes filles entrepreneurs ou jeunes femmes entrepreneurs. Vous avez posé un problème, c'est celui de l'accès au financement, mais c'est aussi le problème de la bancarisation dans nos systèmes économiques. Nous avons déjà dans le domaine de TIC et du numérique, comme vous le savez, fait un choix et une discrimination positive à travers la délégation à l'entrepreneuriat rapide pour les jeunes et les femmes, en dotant annuellement, disons, à ces jeunes start-upers d'un montant de 3 milliards de francs CFA. C'est donc environ plus de 6 millions de dollars qui sont exclusivement réservés à cette catégorie de jeunes entrepreneurs. Nous avons par ailleurs d'autres mécanismes qui sont, par exemple, la microfinance islamique pour les jeunes femmes, le Promise, ainsi que différents fonds du ministère de la Famille et de la Femme qui permettent d'apporter des financements et donc de mettre dans les circuits financiers, n'est-ce pas, tous ces acteurs, en plus bien entendu des femmes entrepreneurs ou des femmes éleveuses, etc. En un mot, la FinTech se développe en Afrique, elle se développera davantage. Les pouvoirs publics, comme vous le savez, ont conscience que l'économie numérique, l'économie digitale, comme on dit, doit être soutenue. Et nous avons d'ailleurs instauré un forum annuel du numérique à travers lequel nous essayons d'identifier toutes ces compétences, toutes ces startups. Et le gouvernement lui-même s'appuie sur des startups pour pouvoir apporter des services dans la couverture maladie universelle, par exemple, où j'ai demandé le développement de systèmes de monitoring, de suivi du malade depuis le poste de santé le plus éloigné jusqu'à l'hôpital, de façon à pouvoir retracer le parcours du patient et donc de pouvoir maîtriser les dépenses en matière de santé. Et tout cela, je pense, est à votre disposition à travers vos initiatives. Nous, pouvoirs publics, nous créons l'environnement, nous facilitons les financements. Le reste dépendra de votre ambition et de votre volonté de réussir. Et je n'ai aucun doute sur cette réussite de la jeunesse sénégalaise et de la jeunesse africaine grâce aux initiatives de la Fondation et aussi à d'autres initiatives. Je dois aussi, pour terminer, dire que nous avons lancé un programme sénégalais pour l'entrepreneurship, déjà depuis 2015. Ce programme forme des masters en entrepreneurship, a déjà mis en place 343 entreprises pour près de 2000 emplois et nous allons davantage appuyer ce programme pour aussi permettre aux jeunes filles, aux jeunes garçons de pouvoir obtenir tout l'appui du secteur public afin, n'est-ce pas, de laisser éclore ce talent nouveau. Je vous remercie.
We have a question for President Tshisekedi from the DRC. If that entrepreneur could stand up, yes.
Son Excellence, Monsieur le Président Tshisekedi, je m'appelle Anna Hope Kabongo. Je suis cofondatrice de Tembesha, qui est une application mobile de covoiturage qui se veut révolutionner le transport urbain en RDC et améliorer le déplacement quotidien des 80 millions des Congolais. Ma question, Monsieur le Président, porte sur l'accès au crédit bancaire des jeunes entrepreneurs congolais. Je suis moi-même issue d'une famille d'entrepreneurs et j'ai l'expérience des crédits coûteux que les banques congolaises octroient aux entreprises. Et selon les statistiques, le taux d'intérêt des crédits bancaires varie entre 18 et 30% en moyenne, et cela pèse sur la trésorerie des entreprises, limite la croissance des entreprises et est simplement inaccessible à nous, jeunes entrepreneurs. Ma question, Monsieur le Président, que prévoit notre gouvernement pour baisser ces taux d'intérêt, rendre accessibles les crédits bancaires aux jeunes entrepreneurs et surtout mettre en place un programme approprié de financement pour les startups congolaises? Merci.
Très bien, mademoiselle. Merci beaucoup pour votre question. Ici, j'aimerais vous rassurer et dire que les problèmes de la jeunesse ne sont pas méconnus de ma part. Je fais de la jeunesse une priorité étant donné que je pense, et je l'ai toujours dit, qu'au-delà de toutes les richesses et les potentialités que contient notre pays, c'est d'abord, la première d'entre elles, c'est la jeunesse. La jeunesse est une arme efficace pour le développement, mais attention, elle peut aussi être une arme destructrice pour les responsables politiques qui ne s'occupent pas suffisamment d'elle. Et pour cela, pour répondre directement à votre question, j'ai entrepris une réflexion qui va, d'ici la fin du mois, se concrétiser carrément et qui consiste à créer un fonds de garantie qui va donc permettre aux banques d'ouvrir l'accès au crédit aux jeunes. Parce que effectivement, nous avons remarqué que, comme vous le dites, les taux d'intérêt sont exorbitants et cela est inacceptable. Par ce fonds de garantie, nous pensons pouvoir, dans un premier temps, couvrir les risques que les banques hésitent à prendre, mais aussi nous allons imposer à celles-ci de ne pas dépasser les 5% de taux d'intérêt au grand maximum. Cela, nous pensons, va booster le génie créateur de nos jeunes, et Dieu sait combien ils le sont, et permettre évidemment la croissance que nous attendons tous de cette catégorie de la population. Et cela également va empêcher, mettre fin juste à cet exode que nous constatons, cette fuite de nos cerveaux et de nos capacités, parce que nos jeunes ne se sentent plus à l'aise dans leur propre pays, ils n'ont plus de débouchés, mais nous pensons qu'avec ce fonds de garantie, nous allons réussir à leur permettre d'entreprendre courageusement et d'être couverts par la suite. Nous allons également renforcer les possibilités de nos jeunes à avoir accès à l'éducation et à la formation. Parce que cela aussi est peut-être la cause du comportement déplorable de nos banques. Elles ont peut-être l'impression d'avoir affaire à de jeunes entrepreneurs qui ne sont pas qualifiés. Or, en renforçant justement ces capacités de nos jeunes, nous pensons pouvoir leur donner l'occasion de faire face à ces défis qui se présenteront à eux. Voilà en quelques mots ce que je peux dire de l'encouragement ou des mesures d'encouragement que nous pensons apporter pour renforcer les jeunes dans leur esprit d'entreprise. Merci.
Thank you so much. It's interesting to me to notice how many of the questions have been about access to credit or capital or technology. The final question to the Prime Minister of Uganda, Prime Minister Rugunda. Yes, ma'am.
Your Excellencies here present today, my Prime Minister, Right Honorable Dr. Ruhakana Lugunda, Jebale Kosebo. My name is Akwero Emma, an entrepreneur from Uganda. I'm very excited and honored to be here today as one of the recipients of 2019 Tony Elumelu Entrepreneurship Program. I'm the co-founder and owner of Mytal app, a research app that enables all business owners to get feedback from their customers in real time, feedback that they can then use to improve the quality of products and services that they provide. They will do this by rewarding or paying their customers for the time they take to respond to these surveys. Now, our goal is to target customers across Africa to download this app, respond to surveys, and just trade. Now, there are barriers to businesses such as mine, barriers such as high taxes. Business owners are required to pay taxes even before they make profits, exchange rates, movement like across countries. You can't move or market your goods easily. You're delayed because of issues such as visas. My question
what is your
today,
question, ma'am?
My question today is, what trade policies can Africa adopt to attain economic liberation?
Well, I think that's an important question concerning new businesses. There are policies in many African countries of giving support to investors, and this is often in reference to big investors from the countries of foreign investment. I think where we need to pay attention to is African governments being more sensitive to new businesses, new startups, so that they can have tax breaks, so that they can be able to build and then be able to pay taxes later on. So we'll take it up as government and address the challenge that you are facing as startups and new small businesses.
Thank you so much, all of you. Excellencies, I think we are at the close of this session, and all that is left.